Namas evening. Anyway, took you a second. It's all right.
Now, people have asked me, what's with the orange? The Irish flag has a field of green, white, and orange. And the white is in the middle to keep the orange and the green separate. Silly Irish people. And my ancestors that I know of from Ireland were actually Orangemen. So they said, what color shirt are you going to wear? And I went, okay, great granddad, I'll wear the orange one. So I am here representing everybody in Ireland. Representing.
Me, I'm just going to be talking like this all night long tonight. So you're going to have this is the way it's going to be. I got me lucky shamrocks on. It's going to be a grand evening now, isn't it?
Aye. Or is it oi?
You paid for this. I just want you to realize this right from the start.
$5 you paid for this.
Oh, did we? No, I'm joking.
Did we?
Thank you. Thank you. Hey.
So, there's some stuff going on, isn't there, in the world? And we are powerful.
Yes, we are.
When we forget our power, we begin to invest in things and ideas and put our energies into situations that do not enhance our joy in life. It's a separation. That's what fear is. Is there any separation going on right now? No. So, and thank you, Bob, for your introduction, because it matters how you do what you do. Because it can look the exact same on the outside, but how it looks on the inside makes all the difference in the world. For example, you can wash your hands. They actually taught us this long before the thing that's going around right now was going around. And they said to us, and it was actually the Christ presence, said, I want you to consider when you wash your hands, letting go throughout your day of that which did not serve you. Every time you wash your hands, do it mindfully. And you can wash your hands and be very fearful. Oh, I'm going to get rid of this virus, and I'm going to do that. And oh, cooties. You can say, I step into my power, and I release that which does not and will never serve me. And I hold my place. And then, I'll get to hold my place in a second. So the first part is letting go, and the second part, and they said only to do this so you don't waste a whole lot of water, but only to do this for a couple seconds, is to let your hands just sit in the flow for an extra second or two and say, and I accept that the divine flow is working in my favor. Would that be a different way to wash your hands if you're going to be washing your hands and doing all this stuff? Would that set a different tone for your body and how your body will respond to things? A stressed body doesn't respond as well, does it? So, what are we feeding ourselves? The little things make a big difference when they're done with intention and thought and being aware.
Sorry. If you deal with the public and you have a particularly things didn't go the way you had hoped, let's say that. You can also say what's mine is mine, what's theirs is theirs.
When you wash your hands.
When you wash your hands. Because it's not it's not judging them or anything else. It's simply not yours and you don't need it, right? And so sometimes I do that as well. What's mine is mine, what's theirs is theirs. Okay, we're good. Onward.
All right, so to really lift the energy for tonight, Are you ready for this? Now, some of you might not have been to this before. I see a couple, at least, new faces. So we're going to do a hoo-wee, and a hoo-wee is exactly what it sounds like. On the count of 3, we're all going to go hoo-wee. And then we'll talk about it, just very briefly, because repetition is a good thing, and those of you that have been at our presentations before know the drill. So we only do this to see if the first-timers will do a hoo-wee and everybody else is... That is not what's going to happen. That's so wrong that came out of my mouth. Because we really all do a hoo-wee.
Everybody knows. This is an all play.
So ready? 1, 2, 3. Hoo-wee! Now, the point of that is what happened to the energy in the room. And you see her smiling and laughing and all the eyes are lit up and everything. How much did that cost?
$5.
Exactly. And we each make darn sure you get your money's worth when you come to the Tom and Kate show.
David, there's a couple of folks at the door. We're busy laughing and hoo-wee.
All right, for you young men. Why do I get the ones who sit in the front of the room? That's all I'm saying.
Good thing you're not Gallagher. You guys are wearing food. Man.
I get out the watermelon right here. So the idea is when we have fun, when we lift up, everything becomes so much easier. And when you do that, you're in your position of power. What they have taught us a very, very, very long time ago is to not make decisions in fear. Now, what does that mean? If you're, just like we talked about with the washing the hands, if you're going to do something, do you think you can do it from a position of love? Do you think doing it from a position of love will create and attract different energy to you than if you would do it from a position of fear? Absolutely. So it becomes then very important to be present and aware of what we're creating with what we're watching, with what we're taking in, and what we're then sharing. So they really want us to be aware of our power. You want me to share this right now? I'm sorry, for those of you who've never been here before, they actually talk to us while we're doing stuff. All right, so I'll give you an example. By all means, honor the guidelines that are out there. But also understand that you have spirit working with you. When you have spirit working with you, there's a whole lot of good stuff in your favor. So they're asking me to share this story that is true. And it is from a month ago. A month ago,
January 27th.
I was coming back from the grocery store. You know what this is, don't you?
January 27th. Yes.
January 27th. I was coming back from the grocery store on the road my house is on. There is one intersection on that road that's across the road before I get to my house. There is a stop sign coming from either direction on that road. My road is straight and 40 miles an hour. There's a bend before that intersection and a high hill, so you can't necessarily see the intersection until you're in it. I come around that bend. Before I leave the house that day, you're going to get the whole story.
Strap in. It's a good one.
Before I leave Monday. Before I leave the house that day.
Something larger than once, please.
Yes. Before I leave the house that day, I go to leave, and I look and I see that it's 45 degrees. Well, 45 degrees is warm to me. And especially this year, I mean, it's been nice. So I go to leave, and as I'm going to leave, I get, as plain as can be, put your thick vest on. I don't want to put my thick vest on. It's 45 degrees. It's sunshine. I'm going to be warm. I go to leave. Put your thick vest on. Okay, so I go, I put my thick vest on. I think this is silly. Any other time, Katie would be with me in the vehicle. All this comes together. Wait till you hear how this comes together. Katie had an event she had to be with, so she was not with me this day. I go, I do my stuff. I'm coming back. I'm bebopping along. I get to the intersection. I'm going through. Didn't even see it. Now you want to talk about something interesting. What broadsided me, and she didn't even touch her brakes, was an International Harvester truck that was either propane or home heating oil. The car went sideways and across somebody's lawn, and I came to rest against a road sign. That's what stopped the vehicle. She hit that Highlander so hard there was no metal over the wheels on the right side of the car. An ambulance guy showed up within, I swear, a minute. I went to get out of the car and collapsed. I couldn't stand up, and I felt this pressure in my chest, and I'm thinking, am I having a heart attack? What's going on? So I climb it. There's a slight dip. We're going to get out of this. Trust me, I'm going somewhere good. I feel this pressure in my chest, my shoulder, my neck. What the heck's going on? And I get out of the car, and I just drop, and I have to pull myself back up. I'm trying to find my phone. I can't find my phone. To call Katie, and I'm doing it, and to call our friend Clarissa, who is curiously working in the hospital that day. So I'm trying to do this, and I can't find my phone. And this guy shows up, and he says, do I need to call an ambulance? I'm on the ambulance team here. And I said, oh, yeah. So he does.
Plus, he didn't know if the driver had been injured or anything yet at that point.
So I went around to the side, and this poor woman's looking at me, and I said, you did have a stop sign, as gently as I could. And she was looking at her GPS, and she didn't see the stop sign, and she didn't see my car. The EMT guy said, in the time it took her to stop, she never touched her brakes. Look at my car, you can kind of figure that out. My vehicle. We're on the way to the hospital, and I said to the guy, and right as the state trooper comes, and I said to him, listen, I know I'm slurring my words a little bit. I swear to you, I haven't been drinking. He said, you have whiplash. You have so many other things going on right now. We're just going to get you to the hospital. You just take care of you. I'll get a report from you at the hospital. Let's get you to the hospital. I said, okay. So we're riding to the hospital. The EMT guy says to me, so I said to him, so if I would have been like a second later, he said, if you would have been a second later, we wouldn't be going to the hospital. He said, you'd have T-boned the truck. He said, and even if it wouldn't have blown up, cars going underneath trucks, hoods don't do good things to people when they come through cars. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think of this. I said, what about if I'd have had a passenger on the right side? He said, we would not be going to the hospital with them.
That would have been me.
Who almost never misses this Monday appointment that I was going to and came back from. But she wasn't there that day. I get to the hospital. The nurse is looking me over. She says, it's bad today. I said, I feel like I've been hit by a truck because I'm trying to laugh. Oh, and the poor lady. It's true. The poor lady, as they're getting ready to load me up into the ambulance, she's losing it. I said, sweetheart, you can't feel bad enough to make this good. It's why we have insurance. And I tried to send her as much love as I could because that's a fact. She can't feel bad enough to make it good. It is why we have insurance. So you'll be good. And so they let me up, take me to the hospital. I get to the hospital, get in there. Nurse is checking me over from the top of my head to my knees. MRI. So I'm saying, listen, guys, you need to come through with me for this because we got a whole lot of stuff coming up and I can't be missing everything. And I sure as heck don't want to feel like this and worse because everybody's saying it's going to get worse before it gets better. I get my that MRI. While I'm waiting, the nurse says to me, so I'm just letting you know so you understand it's bad now. It's going to be worse the next few days because your body's going to take a while. When your body releases this much chemicals, your body doesn't know what to do with it. And the ER doctor comes in, ED doctor. Now they call it the ED. Emergency department. I just want to make that clear. Doctor comes in and says, just so you know. So, the emergency department doctor said the same thing. He says, you know, it hurts bad right now. It's going to be worse in the next few days because your body has to clear all those chemicals that just got produced, and the body doesn't release those very well. Okay, so I get to the house. Oh, they check the MRI. Nothing is broken. I have been broadsided by an international harvester truck that didn't touch its brakes, and nothing is broken. There's nothing wrong with my brain aside from it's me.
Nothing got fixed.
Hey! So the trooper comes in. He tells me, that car's got to be towed. Da 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 da. She admitted fault. Everything's fine. I said okay, and he's saying, look, you really, took a shot there. Take care of you. Blah blah blah. Okay, fine. I go. Oh, while I'm in the hospital, Clarissa comes down and says, look at your vest. Because I tell her the story. I don't know what this is about. Oh, the chest, seatbelt. Mm-hmm. When I couldn't stand up, I thought it was my heart, of course. But they just said, no, there's a whole bunch of stuff going through your body when you just took a shot like that from a truck. So, she shows me the vest, and Katie, the vest, the label, in silver letters, great big ones, TRUST. I should have brought it tonight. I didn't know I was going to tell this story. Trust.
And you weren't going to put it on.
And I wasn't going to put it on. They made me go back and put that vest on. That's significant because our friend told us her dad was in the same kind of accident and had road rash all from the seatbelt and all kind of things from the seatbelt. I had none of that. I had David?
Might have kept you warm, too, if you were in shock.
That's true, too.
Huh?
But I'll tell you what, that puppy insulated all that also. So, I'm listening to all this, I'm listening to the ER doctor saying, and the last thing he said to me, he said, this could be days, this could be weeks, this could be months before you're better. And I'm thinking, no. I refuse to believe that. I get home, I go upstairs. That's not happening so well. I go to take a step, my left hip is hurting so bad, and I have to go up steps, one step with my right leg, which is a little bit better, but it ain't happening with my left leg. Get to the top of the steps, I go out on the deck. I said, guys, no. And first thing they said was clear. I said, okay, so I cleared all this stuff. And I feel all this stuff go off of me from this accident. And then they said, the words you are going to say to yourself from this night until you awaken in the morning are, I walked away from the accident unscathed except for minor bumps and bruises. This is what you will say to yourself until you go to bed tonight. I can do that. I walked away from and I'm saying, I'm just letting you know. My head, I don't get headaches. I had a raging headache. I'm just letting you know. I walked away from the accident, minor bumps and bruises. I clear one more time before I go to bed. They affirm it again, so I'm just saying again and again. I go to bed that night. I can barely turn my head to say goodnight, God bless you to Katie, because that's what we do before we go to bed. And bless her and kiss her forehead. And I go to sleep, and I get up the next morning, and I'm looking like this at Katie when she opens her eyes. And she says, how you doing? And I said, I'm looking at you over my left shoulder is how I'm doing. She said, what? And I got out of bed with a flourish. You're seeing it, aren't you? You can't get rid of that now. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you can't unsee that.
I felt incredible. I didn't just feel no pain. I felt incredible. I said, look at this. What I chose to believe made a difference in the outcome of that. I am convinced. Now, here's another funny part. 2 days later, I'm walking into the bathroom and Katie's behind me. Because I actually said to them, what about the minor bumps and bruises part? I have no bumps and bruises. Isn't that great? You even took care of that. 2 days later, Katie says to me, what's on the back of your arm over here? And I said, what are you talking about? She says, you have 2 little black and blue marks on the back of your arm. Where I couldn't see them. It was perfect. Oh my God. You can't make this stuff up, by the way. So, now, it's funny because I told a friend of mine that, and I could see him saying, and I said, you know, we are so protected, and we need to know that. And we need to honor that, and we need to call it in when we really need it. That doesn't mean to act foolishly or with disregard for taking care of ourselves. It means, though, when you're facing something, you're not alone. And I am telling you what. That was amazing. And if I can do it, you can do it. And again, do what you need to do. Pay attention to what you need to pay attention to. And protocol for the care of you. Not from fear, but from honoring you and those around you. Listen to the difference. Oh, I have to be afraid of touching anybody, looking at anybody, getting close to anybody, breathing on anybody. I will honor and respect other people's presence in my presence. And I will hold my health. I will ask beings in love and light to assist with me in this. And we have a little message specifically on that in a moment. But right now, Katie has some things she wants to tell you about. And I apologize for that, but I had no idea they were going to ask me to share that story with you.
It was perfect. It's perfect, as always. I have a bag of stuff. Yay! Visual aids. I'm all about visual aids. All right. Can you folks see what this is? Matthew, zoom in. It is a walnut. Specifically called an English walnut, but most of us just call them walnuts, right?
So when you talk to it, you've got to talk like this, don't you know? Hello, Ducky Bud, how are you? What have we got here? We got us a nut, do we?
Now, interestingly enough, English walnuts, they are not native to this country. But this is, when people get walnuts, this is what you buy, isn't it? Okay.
Now, they have them in California and Oregon, and they grow them here now, but
Right.
they weren't.
Right.
So,
but they're native to, and I made notes here because I can't remember all this stuff. They're native to Asia and Southern Europe. Okay. But yet, people brought them to California, Oregon, and Washington, and they acclimated, and now they are a big cash crop in this country, right?
along with something else now that's in
Yeah,
Oregon.
right.
I'm just saying. They brought in from somewhere else. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes. Now, this might be a little trickier.
Black walnut.
Thank you. This is a black walnut. Any of you who've spent any time in the South, they make the best ice cream in the world out of this stuff down there, and I can't find it anywhere else out of the South. It's amazing. This is called a black walnut, same family. These are native to the United States, to the eastern United States, in fact. Okay, so we have both of these walnuts. Good stuff. So if we're going to eat these, do we just bite into it? Why not?
Because you get to go to see the dentist.
Yeah.
You bite into those puppies.
Now, unless you're a squirrel, of course, they'll just start chewing the daylights out of them. So what do we have to do? To crack it open, right? To get to the good stuff on the inside. How do we crack it? Would this do the trick?
That's my girl.
It's my pink hammer. This is my hammer.
It is. Note.
Pink. Would that work? Bam, right? What's going to happen, though? If I hit it, otherwise it'll ricochet into poor Seth. Right? But what's going to happen?
Crush the good stuff inside.
It's going to crush the good stuff. There'll be shells, and it's going to take me how long to pick out everything, right? Yeah. Now, a friend of ours said when they were kids, their parents would turn them loose with a bag of these, and they would have a contest to see who could crack them open as gently as possible, saving the perfect insides. But in general, this hammer is not for this job, is it?
Nope.
So what do we do instead? Not just a nutcracker, but they give you a little pick, right? To get the good stuff out, don't they? So, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. We'll find out. Yeah. There we go.
You did it. You're powerful.
Boom! Right? Ooh, not the best job I've ever done, but that's okay.
Might have to do it again. Let's do it again.
Here we go. I promise, Bob, I won't make a mess. And so there on the inside is that yummy little piece, right, that we want to get to. The good stuff is on the inside, isn't it? Yeah? Mm. So, how many of you remember, well, maybe you still do it, at Christmas time, right? You get nuts and, right? It's all in the process, isn't it? It's fun, isn't it? Now, if I'm making something and I need it fast, what am I going to do? I'm buying
Cheater,
that, right?
cheater.
Right? And isn't that kind of what they tell us now? Fast is better, right? Technology. Ooh, I don't have to do all this myself, do I? But we're always in such a hurry that we're missing that ritual, right? Of cracking that nut open and picking out the good stuff and talking with people. It's a process, isn't it? And we rob ourselves of that process. Don't get me wrong. If I'm in a hurry and I got to make something fast, I'm going to here. But that's only for rare cases, isn't it? You want to spend time in the process, right? Kind of like life. Life is a process. Don't be in such a hurry, okay? You'll get there. What's your hurry? Because you know where there is. No. Getting there is the next step. Transitioning. I don't say the D word because it's not true. None of us do that. We transition to the next level and beyond. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what's your hurry? Savor the experience, right? Crack it open. See what's inside. Look at it. They're amazingly intricate in there. I mean, it blows my mind when I look inside of here, all this little papery stuff and that nut, and how does this happen? Right? And where does this come from? This isn't a trick question. Yeah.
There you go.
It's okay. Participate. There are no wrong answers, okay? If you had said the grocery store,
Dirt.
I'd say yes, because that's where I had to go to get these. But these come from a tree. So what is this really? This is a seed, isn't it? Right? So, if we're a squirrel, we're gathering things.
Squirrel.
Yeah. You sure that accident didn't do anything?
Whoa, calling back up, I've been hit.
Well, you know he's always like this.
Focus. Right.
He's always
So-
like that.
So, and really, this is the one that amazes me, is the black walnut. Now, if you don't know anything about walnuts, this is not how you find them on the ground.
We have a tree that has those.
Yeah.
And its root constantly
Yep.
jars us.
Yep. And interestingly enough, the English walnut, which you would think would have a thicker hull, actually has a thinner green hull around it. And a black walnut, it's even thicker. And they kind of look like limes when they first start falling off the tree. They look like limes everywhere.
Wait,
Not limey.
are you being derogatory?
No.
What you saying here? You're talking about
No.
English walnuts and all that.
So when you, so you're a squirrel, you bury these, you forget where you buried them, and what happens? And how does that work? Think about that for a minute. It falls to the ground. Sometimes just leaf litter covers it up. Sometimes a squirrel buries it. But think about this for a minute. First off, what has to happen to that shell in order for it to sprout? It has to crack. You have to crack the shell. The shell has to give up this, doesn't it? I'm not giving up. No, wait. I'm sorry. You have to. You have to crack. You have to crack open. Why? So that the sprout can come out and the roots can go down. This thing is amazing because the sprout knows instinctively which direction to move toward. It goes up. It doesn't matter how you bury the, do you think the squirrels are going, oh, it's like a bulb, I must put the flat end on the bottom? No, they don't do that. They don't. You that plant bulbs, you know you're supposed to plant them a certain way. They just bury them, right? But that sprout knows to go up toward what?
The light.
The light. And the roots know instinctively to go down into the soil, don't they? It's a miracle if you really think about how smart this is. And yes, go ahead.
And what does that make?
What does this make? Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I have a process here, and I made notes. So that green outer shell has to crack first, doesn't it? And then this. Now, at first glance, you would think, oh, that's worse. That's hard. But this is so thin in comparison to that outer hull, isn't it? Right? That thick. And what happens to that outer hull? Have you tried to open a walnut? Yeah. You get all these stains on your hand.
The black walnuts. You saw
Yeah, the
that.
black walnuts. Well, they might, these two, I don't know. I've never had one in a green hull. I just get them in bags. But with the black walnut especially, your hands get all stained up. And have any of you ever bitten one? Yes, I have. I was a child, I had to taste my way through the world. They are so bitter. Oh my God. Bitter, bitter, bitter. But yet, what's on the inside? That amazing good stuff, isn't it? Yeah. So, in order for this to become a tree, right, it's got to go in the ground, it's got to crack open and be willing to grow. Kind of like us. Right? You have to get rid of that outer hull. I'm good right here. Thank you very much. Don't breathe on me. You keep your germs to yourself. Right? I mean, really. And is it just a tree? There's a whole forest in here of potential. So if you were this nut, take the time to crack yourself open and allow yourself to shed that outer husk and that hard shell of fear so that you can experience life.
And grow up towards the light.
Grow toward the light. It's
And let
what
your
we do
roots go where they
instinctively. We've
need to
talked
go.
about this before. We automatically orient to beauty, to laughter, to nice music. Nobody had to teach us that a sunrise or a sunset was beautiful, did they? You just looked at it and went, ooh, or a rainbow, right? I love watching kids when they see rainbows. I do the same thing. I pull the car over. Ooh, ah, right? No one had to teach us how to orient to the good stuff, to the light, to beauty, to joy, to music. No one had to teach you that. It's instinctive in you. Thank you for that brilliant design. Yes. So, actually, I have one. So, imagine you are the first person to stumble across one of these. Now, it's green at certain parts of the year, and then they get darker. This one's really hard. That's weird, because this one's kind of soft and rotted. What would you think when you saw this? If you're the first human being to see one of these, are you going to eat that? Why? Ew, it looks weird.
I think someone should throw it and another person should have a branch.
Right? Yeah.
That's how baseball was invented.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, that works.
But how often in life do we look at something on the surface and go, ew? Ew. We judge it, don't we? Because it looks funny. It looks different. It smells funny. It's bitter.
Just checking.
It's my boy. It's my boy. So think about what had to happen for someone to be brave enough to bite into that and go, ew, throw it away. They probably watched other animals breaking them open to get to the good stuff on the inside. Once again, how often do you look in the mirror and you see this and think, no, not worth anything? Really? Come on.
That's your fear talking. That's your shell talking.
Absolutely.
And especially when you're looking at you, dear ones.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, each one of us is one of these. And the Creator is dropping us off of a tree, right? To experience life, to find tools, to get to the good stuff that's on the inside. Because every one of us on the inside is absolutely, completely perfect. You just got to dig past this, don't you, sometimes? And this isn't physical either. This could be attitudes. It could be perceptions. It could be stuff we've learned that we have to unlearn. But all you got to do is take the time to get into the center of that. Think, wow, this is amazing. I personally like walnuts. They're tasty. So we're each a walnut that the Creator has dropped to the ground to have an experience. And by virtue of that, we're all linked to each other. We're all from the same tree, aren't we? We're all walnuts off the same tree. And then today, they had me take it a step further, and they said, the universe is a forest of walnut trees. And each of you is an individual tree. And trees have seasons, don't they? They grow leaves, they grow nuts, they drop the leaves, they drop the nuts. Each one of these that we drop is a lifetime that we get to experience. And we get to do it over and over and over again because we can. That's the whole point. It's all about the journey. It's all about the experience. It's about cracking your shell open and seeing what you've got on the inside and sprouting and moving toward the light and looking for the good stuff on the inside. Or it's just a walnut. It's up to you.
Are you done?
I'm done. I made a nice little mess. It's all
We
good.
have other pages of things.
That's okay. I got through it all.
Oh, you good.
Oh yes, I am Vanna.
Now, for those of you who've been here before, you know that Spirit will give me, prior to presentations, an acronym. Wait till you see what they have in store for you today, babies. Go ahead.
Tell me how you want me to do this.
Just write it all out.
All of it?
All right. So go ahead. Do the first one. So, feeling. What's feeling about? Feeling is the energy a thought is this. Feelings are the energy that makes this into something. Thoughts without emotion are like that. Thoughts with emotion become this and then grow. They will grow with what you feed it, fear or love. But wait, there's more.
Next one.
Life. So, and go ahead, do the last one. Feeling life's uncertain. You know, it's kind of in a question mark. It's kind of funny and kind of not. What do we have this week? Today is Friday the 13th. Just got out of a full moon.
And
Just got out of Mercury out of retrograde.
whew.
And now let's see, what can we pile on here? The stock market is having all kind of issues and collapsing, and this virus is out there doing its thing. And
Welcome to Earth.
feeling life's uncertain?
Ready?
I'm ready. This was on the way here as I'm driving. I actually had to stop and write this down for you all.
You want me to do the whole thing?
Sure. They have such a sense of humor on the other side. You can't make this up. Remember to get your flu shots.
I one for this, but whatever.
When you feel life's uncertain, remember spirit heals our troubling situations. How about that? Not that that has any application on anything going on at the current time in our world. So, let's talk about this a little bit. They gave us something incredibly powerful just a few weeks ago. They said, if you know the water is rising and you get out of the water quickly, the initial assessment is an assessment. You realize it's important to get out of the water. Usually, you get a little afraid, right? Which then motivates you to take action. Here's where they stopped it. They said, we want you to realize that the action isn't fearful unless you deem it so. The action is in self-preservation and is in knowledge. Wow. To lead you towards the better outcome. It's instinctive in you. If you touch a hot stove, you automatically pull away, correct? Your body knows that can cause it harm. It takes action. The fear is but a moment. The body's response and the inner knowing is self-preservation. That's powerful. That's stepping away from fear to healthy action. How about that? When we feel our life's uncertain, the news wants you to watch the news. Why does the news want you to watch the news? It's a self-perpetuating cycle because this helps our ratings and we can get you to be fearful. And then you have to watch us. And you have to see what else you can be afraid of and on and on and on and on and on. And they've told us so many times in spirit, stop watching the news. Unless you watch it for the purpose of sending light and love where you need to send light and love. And that's an entirely different situation than watching out of, oh my God, what's going on today? Because in fact, how many places did everything go right today? Most everywhere. Where are you going to put your focus? Because where you put your focus is what you're going to grow. So when you can find all these reasons though this week. Oh my God, did this go? Oh my God.
Step out of it.
Spirit has an answer. Usually comes in stillness. I got broadsided by a truck.
That would
Car
be
was totaled.
opening the shell with this. One way.
Oh, I didn't finish the story. So it was funny. I was telling a friend about that, and I could see him. He didn't say it, but believe it or not, I do sense what other people got going on in their energy around them. And it's like, well, if you're so protected, why were you hit by a truck? Good point. But if I was hit by a truck and I can stand here like this, I'll take that. Maybe I needed to be hit by a truck for the lady that was driving the truck because it was time for her to drive the truck. And then you know what they gave to me just a couple days ago, which I had totally missed and all that? What kind of truck was it? An energy truck. You can't make this stuff up. You can't. You can't. Hello, Tom. Now do you see what you can do in your power? Do we have to give you this? So you know you're worthy? Do we have to tend to you this much so that you know what you're worth? That you know that, yeah, you do all this stuff for all these other people, but we got you too.
There's more, huh?
But wait, there's more.
It was a 2008 Highlander, which we loved. We were taking really good care of it, and it was lasting
With 180,000 miles on it.
180,000 miles. And a few months ago, we went in to renew our car insurance, and they had a thing going because we had a good driving record. All we had to do was sign up for it. It didn't cost us anything
Go
more.
into your insurance company whenever it's time for you to re-up.
Yeah.
Don't just do it over mail, because this kind of stuff happens if you have a good
Amazing.
insurance agent.
Yeah.
Because we'd have never known about this if we would have just sent the papers in the mail. But we said, we're driving right by here. It's in our neighborhood. And while we were in there, they told us about this program.
So, for no extra money, if your car gets totaled, they will make it 2 years younger. In other words, instead of an 08, now it's a 2010 vehicle with 30,000 miles less on it. So instead of an 08 with 180, we got the replacement value for a 2010 with 150? 150,000 miles on it. And we thought, oh, this car isn't going to be worth anything, right?
I honestly figured it was worth about $2,500, $3,000. That's what I was thinking, 180,000 miles. I mean, it was running great, don't get me wrong, but 180,000 miles on a car that's 12 years old.
Right. So Tom starts doing some research. These things are still worth $6,500 to $9,000. And then we go looking for new cars because we know we have to get a new car. And we wanted another Highlander because it was very obvious that that car was well built. And
I
this is
forgot
not a
something.
yeah. This is not a promotion of a Toyota Highlander. I'm just saying it's a well-built vehicle, and we
And
love
it keeps its value
Yes.
incredibly. In case you haven't figured that out. Oh my God.
So our dealer says now the insurance company is going to try to lowball you because they have to pay for the damage initially. Now they'll probably go after the other company and get reimbursed and all that, but pay attention. He said you had heated seats added, you had a tow package put on, and
Brand new tires.
Brand new tires.
The tires have been rotated
One rotation.
one time. 5,000 miles on the tires. Brand new tires.
So the insurance company calls, and the guy's lowballing us. Tom said, we did this, we did this, we did this, and I'm looking online, and this is what most people are getting. Let me see what I can do. He came back with an amount that was 4 times what we thought we were going to get for that car, which enabled us to put a very nice down payment down on a 2016.
Now, I forgot to tell you something. I knew I was forgetting something in my story.
Did you forget?
When the insurance company called me the next day,
Oh.
the gal says, "Can I record your version of what happened?" I said, "My version? Of course you can." Yes. I'm driving on the road and was broadsided by a truck that went through a stop sign.
What more
That's all I have to say. Without hitting her brakes. And I wish no ill will towards her, but that's exactly what happened. And the woman said, and I said it was an energy truck. It was either propane or heating oil. I don't know. Didn't bother to look. I couldn't stand up. I had to crawl back to the car kind of thing. So the lady's talking to me 3 times while she's interviewing me. On the recording, she asks, and the vehicle didn't roll over. She hit the stop on the record, and the first thing out of her mouth was, "Oh my God, I would have been so scared." That's absolutely true.
Well, yeah.
And I get that. But then it about 2 hours later, this is pinging me. The 3 times during that she said, and the vehicle didn't roll over. That truck hit me that hard to push the metal in so far that there's no metal over the wheels. That vehicle then slid sideways, then off the road, onto somebody's front yard, through their front yard, at which point it righted itself and across the way. What should have happened in so many different instances during that sequence? When the thing got hit, when it went from a road to dirt, at any one of those times, what should have happened to that vehicle? It should have rolled. I totally missed that.
Hallelujah.
Do you see the light? I strongly recommend not getting hit broadside by a truck to find out you're worthy of things and that you actually do have stuff and they'll come to your aid.
No hammers.
Spirit heals our troubling situations. We don't have to wait till there's a fire. We don't even have to wait till there's smoke. We can notice it's getting kind of warm in whatever we're facing in life. Doesn't it make sense to put it out then than to wait until the house is on fire? The issue becomes then.
What do you want? This one?
No, this is good.
These?
This is good.
Teeth.
Every time we make a decision to be us them, every time we make a decision to judge ourselves, to judge someone else, we're adding to this. This separates us from the nut.
Oh,
From the nut. It's okay.
Yeah, I get
No,
another.
it's okay.
I'll make another
That separates us from our good. Katie's on a roll.
Oh, that one broke.
It's okay.
It's still good though.
Yes. From the nut. From this which supports and grows and nurtures us, that knows the way to the light, that knows where to go to get nurturing. Our spirit,
Nourishment.
our spirit knows this. Just like we know when the water starts to go up to get out of the water. Just like we know when we go to touch something hot to pull our hand away. The other example they gave us, if you're going to work the way you always went to work and a tree falls across the road, do you just sit there and say, oh my gosh, the tree's across the road, I just have to wait here until they move the tree?
We know some people like that, don't we?
What do you do?
Find another route.
You find another route. And by the way, when you're on that other route, is it entirely possible that you might encounter or see something that you would have never seen before on your new route? Because that stuff happens. We have a living testament to that sitting in the front row tonight, who found their new house that way, by the way. It's much better to hear them tell it. So, in any one of those cases, responding in fear, oh, the tree's blocking my road, is the initial phase. But then that intelligence shows up. That inner knowing, that presence. And it's important to start to distinguish that from fear. And get to know that presence in your life, because that's what serves you. That's what brings you home to light. That's what finds its way into that which nourishes you and draws you into that which is whole and fulfilling. It's interesting. When you start to pray, most people, what do they instinctively do? What do you do? Why do you close your eyes? Who taught you to close your eyes? Yeah, how about that? Don't get me wrong, there's lots of times I pray looking up with my hands like this and get an energy ball that's just huge and then send it to whatever I put my intention towards. That's how I pray now. But there's lots of times, too, that I simply close my eyes when I pray. And you want to do that because it's happening right now. And just become still and aware. That's the instinctive knowledge they're asking you to tap into, especially when you start feeling life's uncertain. Spirit doesn't just come externally to you. You have an internal connection to Spirit. You are not separate from Spirit. That would mean you would be this and only this. It's the difference between an external knowing and an internal knowing. Congratulations, they've never talked about this with anyone else. To my knowledge, in this way, through us anyway, you're getting this right now. Just like you're getting all the rest of this. That. When life feels uncertain, we're looking at external things and making assessments. That's a pretty good indication you've forgotten your truth. And your truth starts with this word. When you align to that which is divine, I'm a poet, what can I tell you? When you align with that which is divine, then you let your light shine. You know what I'm saying. So I don't charge extra for the reading. I'm just like the poetry reading midway through the presentation. I'm sorry.
No, he's not.
You should be in my head. Oh
he's
my God.
I know. Well, I know he's not.
That internal aspect of you is uncorrupted by the world. They asked us a long time ago, years ago. We were doing a presentation at the old bookstore, in fact, is where it came out. And they said, would you like proof that you are whole? And the proof that you are whole and unbroken and uncorrupted by this world is feeling bad feels bad. What the heck does that mean? It means if feeling sad, depressed, anxious, upset, disappointed, unworthy, lonely, felt good, you would know that something had happened to you internally and you needed to seek help immediately. There are some people who feel that way. They are most often, and I'm not kidding, in federal institutions, which is probably a good idea, although I wish they would treat them better. However, they need to be separated from society until they can be healed, because they will hurt themselves or others. Having said that, how many of you feel like feeling bad, sad, anxious, upset, disappointed, sorrowful, unworthy, lonely, and so on feels bad? How many of you feel that? All of you. Thank you very much.
Raise them hands. Yes.
It's actually proof that you're perfectly fine. Because it means the inside of you that's love and joy has been uncorrupted by the world and is giving you a signal saying, hey, you've stepped out of your truth. Come home where you belong. That then gives us the strength, the insight, and the awareness to say, and they actually said, when you find yourself feeling bad, sad, upset, depressed, whatever, it's actually time to feel good and realize how whole, in fact, you still are. Because that which is the center of you is love and joy, and it's letting you know you've departed from your truth. The truth of your spirit.
Pain is not the enemy. Pain is a symptom. It's good to know when you're in pain, because then you realize something is out of balance. Something is not right here, and I need to do something about it. Right? So look at pain as an indicator. It is a gift, in a way, to let you know, oh, my hand is on this hot stove. I need to move it, don't I? Because of the pain. Right? Otherwise, you're going to damage your hand, right?
Pain is an indicator of an expressed desire to move to something healthy. Mm-hmm. Your internal spirit saying to you, nurture me. Heal me. Grow me. Allow me out. Allow that which is love and joy
Right there.
out into the world to get the sunshine that I need, to get my roots into the good soil that I need to grow.
Pick one. Pass them around. No, I'm serious. Keep that walnut to remind you.
It's a BOGO. You can go ahead and, if you have someone you want to give
Yeah,
one to,
yeah,
and then have them watch the video if they're not here. We'll bless them so there'll be enough for everybody to go around.
But that'll be a reminder to you, right? Okay, so inside this hard exterior, do we all get afraid sometimes? Of course. But when you get past that shell of fear, the good stuff is on the inside. And when you bring the good stuff out, everybody gets to be nourished, don't they? Right?
Excellent point. Thank you. Because that then brings us to the next side of this. Does the black walnut tree or the English walnut tree only benefit itself? The gift of that tree, being that tree, benefits the whole forest in so many different ways. Is this true? Absolutely. So it goes beyond just its own individual purpose to being part of the beautiful forest. to feed the animals, to offer shade, to offer compost to the soil, to enrich the soil. All these things to grow other trees. From being what it was made to be. Its internal guidance is sure and certain. It is a tree. They showed us something interesting last night. We were doing a meeting last night.
That's where the whole walnut thing came from.
And they showed us something very interesting. There's the truthful word for this is cacophony.
Cacophony.
That.
Bunch of noise.
There are so many birds behind our house of various varieties. There are red-winged blackbirds and starlings and cardinals and wrens and sparrows and on and on and on and on. Grackles. Because we have bamboo. And it's one of the few things that offers them shelter this time of year. So it is like loud. There's that many. There are thousands and thousands of them in the bamboo behind our house. They're calling. As they start to quiet down in the front of our house, there's a creek. The spring peepers start to call. Spring peepers, for those of you who are city folk and don't know them, I am so sorry for you.
They're about the size of the half of a wall. They're this
And they're
tiny.
they're
Teeny tiny.
beautiful, but they're loud.
Woo.
And they're one of my favorite sounds of spring. When I hear the peepers, I'm like, yes, we're here. Spirit said something very, very, very interesting. And they're asking me to share it with you. It's stuff we don't think about. Do you have to be a frog to appreciate the frog's song? Do you have to be a bird to appreciate all those birds singing? Now are you beginning to understand how beautifully powerful you are and how much more you are than you ever thought you were when you begin to understand that you can appreciate all these things that you are not in awareness in spirit. You don't have to speak frog to appreciate the sound of the frog. You don't have to speak bird to understand the beauty of the bird's song. They gave us another example. They said, look up at the stars in the sky. For those of you who have been in the city, you've never experienced this, again, I am so sorry for you. When you go out into the country on moonless nights, when there's the new moon, if you go where there's not a lot of ambient light, you can actually see your shadow by the starlight. What does the star represent? How many of them had to shine their light for you to see that light? Every time you look in the night sky and you see stars, what are some feelings that come to mind when you look up and you see stars? Awe, amazement. What else? Beauty, joy, sure. All these wonderful things.
You feel small, but yet big, all at the same time. That's cool.
Given you by Creator that which draws these feelings out from you, it's coming from you. It is initiated by an external source, but it is the power in you, the spirit in you, that's aligning to and identifying with things that are not you, that in fact we take for granted because it's been happening all our lives. That we don't speak bird, yet we appreciate the beauty of their song. Or frog. Or whatever. We're not stars, but we can appreciate the beauty of the stars. These kind of gifts. Now, other animals will navigate by them and so on. Do you think they sit there and look up at the star-filled night and go, oh, I don't know. I know that I can. And I know that you can. And I know I've never thought about it until Spirit said to us, that's what happens when you stop living an external Spirit-driven life. And you begin to understand that which is you in expression so beautifully and so powerfully. And you begin to trust that. Understand that sometimes you're going to learn stuff. You all call those mistakes. They told me to get that word out of my vocabulary. There are no mistakes, there's only learning. We put all the trauma drama around doing something and not getting the result we wanted. That's all that happened. You did something, you didn't get the result you wanted. We make it dross and drama. And, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. What's the matter? And God must not love me. And oh, I did all that. Or you did something, you found out what didn't work, and now you are more equipped to find out what will work in the future because you found out this particular pattern, choice, whatever, is not in alignment with where you are right now in your life. Does it mean it never will be? Probably not, but it is a chance for right now to learn something new and to choose something better, to choose something more whole, more complete. Are you worth that?
This is an all play.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you see the light? One person sees the light all the way in the back of the
Because
room.
he's back in the dark.
Seriously. The guy all the way in the back sees the light. Thank you. Wow. Wow. This is a very big night for us all here tonight. Because it's a reminder for us to be beacons of light in the darkness. Stuff's going to happen in the world. It is. People are going to have their transition times as they have all the time regularly. It's part of the cycle of being here on this earth. Can you feeling bad enough and sending it fear make it one blink better? Can it possibly make it worse? Yes. What's the sane choice? This is the thing they've been saying to us lately. Get your sanity back. You've been taught insanity. You're not insane except when you're collective. Because we do this kind of stuff. They say, look at the sanity. The sanity would tell you to center yourself, be certain that you are maintaining your own health, so that, of course, you can ward off anything that might be coming your way. You follow the protocols, of course, that are being recommended. We're not saying at all disregard any of this stuff. We're saying, okay, so you know some things. You're going to wash your hands. If you know you're in a high-hazard environment, take precautions, blah, blah, blah. You can't worry yourself into a fit enough to make it better. That only creates stress. Will the stress make you better prepared to deal with any health issue? Ever. So then, we align to that which is wholeness and love. We know our worth. Let me say that again. In case you haven't gotten the gist of tonight, it's been all about what you're worth, who you are in truth, and what your connection is. And that you are so worthy and so connected and have this place of love and joy.
I'm looking for the light.
Bless you.
That's my man. I love you, Bob. It's important to remember that it's in you. looking out here, if you find yourself going here, do a stop. You know, it's funny. Mozart is hysterical. He's a genius, but he's, oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
He's wild. He's wild as a guy. But he's a genius. And his lessons are so very profound.
Tom,
Yes, sir.
he wrote Twinkle Twinkle Little Star when he was 4.
Get out. Really?
Something like 4, maybe 5.
So,
Wow. Doesn't that make sense? Holy cow.
so there's more to that we're not going to share with you at this time, even though we're being recorded, because, oh my God. So that's a whole nother story. In fact, you just opened up a whole nother chapter, honey, with that comment. Mozart is talking about appreciation and beauty and who we are and what we are. Understanding what music we play in our day. And he said this: if you were driving and a song came onto your radio that you didn't like, or you hit a button and a genre of music that you don't like came on, what would you do without even thinking about it?
Change it.
Yet, we've been trained to watch the news, to listen to people griping, to gripe ourselves. He said, do you not understand the perfection of the design in you? Listen, pay attention to what you do with your music, because it'll give you an opening into the beauty in your divinity, in your spirit. He's a genius. He's wild, but he's a genius. And he said, do you understand that you don't even think about changing the station? Yet, if somebody says to you, I don't like how you did this, or find some fault with you, how long will you be carrying that in your day? I can't believe she said that to me. What did she think? And then you go, and did you know she said that? Can you believe she did that? Wait till I see her. I'm going to just let her. That thing took 30 seconds to a minute to happen, and 3 hours later, you're still playing that station. He said literally, in your mind, if you don't have a radio near you, because he said, you can do this physically until it develops into a habit. If something happens like that to you and you find yourself getting sucked into the wormhole, literally put on music you don't like. And say, this is what I'm playing. Why would I do that? Then put on something that soothes you, that brings you joy, that brings you peace, that makes you feel fulfilled. And listen to that a while. And say, now, how did I ever get taught to listen to that when I can choose this? They take that which seems so difficult for us and give us these lessons to bring forward for you so that it becomes so easy, because it really is. You've been taught an illusion to pay attention to all this wild stuff out here, all these external things. And in doing that, it's a distraction, because that is one of fear's most powerful tools, is distraction.
It's another
If I can
reason.
get you to go over here, and you pass over here, it doesn't take very long at all till you're way over here saying, hey, how did I get out here?
It's another reason to close your eyes every now and then, too. Because this is just, shiny and wow. And if you close your eyes, you can kind of disconnect, can't you? And that's something you can do, not behind the wheel, but anywhere else during your day, right? I do it at work all the time. Every now and then I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to take a little pause. Right? Took that much time, but yet it was like a total reset because it got you out of the distraction.
And then what does that do to her energy? What then does her energy change like that do to the people she interacts with? This is now the fruit of the tree going up. This is all the nuts she's dropping in the day.
They're gone. I've lost my nuts.
She can say that. I'm not going there. So,
Can't have these.
Other nuts.
Found my nuts. Yes.
I have so many filters dropping in right now because, oh my God.
Can hear
You
the
guys got to
gears.
stop feeding me these
Can
lines.
hear the gears.
I'm
They're
being
grinding.
recorded. No. Filter.
Woo! But we're
And see, it
laughing.
feels good to laugh, doesn't it? And if we can bring this to our lives. By the way, when you laugh, your body starts producing so many powerful
Happy
chemicals
chemicals.
to help your health. True, absolutely true. It pumps up your thymus gland.
Yep.
About the size of your thumb, it's behind your chest bone. Starts producing all kind of wonderful chemicals that help your immune system.
Ooh, ooh.
Stress does the opposite, by the way.
Yeah.
To the thymus gland. So, laugh. Enjoy the beauty around you. If you find yourself getting sucked into stuff, because all it is creating new habits in love and setting aside the fear. I love the thing about the music. That was one of the easiest things I can get my head around. And I'm going to tell you, I use it. I used it the other day. I was walking and I was thinking about this stuff, and they said, Mozart literally came in and said, "Is this what you're going to do? What music are you listening to? Play something different." And it's wonderful. Let that help you make different choices. Let that help you get back to center. Let that remind you the truth of who and what you are. And then when you go forth in the world and you wash your hands, not from fear, from self-care, and care for those who will be around you. I'm not spreading the fear either. I won't be a tree for fear. Wow. That just came out of spirit for you. I will be acting responsibly and mindfully in love. I'll care for myself that I may better care for others, and I will care for others as I can. And be responsible for my energy and their energy. And certainly help this stop, but I don't have to choose fear to stop it. I can stop it in love. That's a good place to end tonight, don't you think?
Woo-hoo.
Be a tree for love. If you're going to be a tree and you all got walnuts, be a tree for love. Can we end on a hoo-wee?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Hoo-wee! Yes! Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Something came to me when you said a tree for fear.
Ooh, we're not done.
Sometimes our shells get broken down by something other than spirit broadsiding us or us skillfully extracting the fruit that's within us. Sometimes we find ourselves in a boggy situation that's breaking down our shell that protects us. Sometimes we find ourselves
Like
in a
this one.
situation where someone else is like just wearing away, but not in the way that we like at us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where sometimes, we have, but I don't know what that blessing is. We're humans, so we're not, thank God, we're not really walnuts because we can remove ourselves. We can do what we need to do to get out of those boggy situations that might break down our shell in a way that we don't want.
Correct.
Yeah, which might lead us to be a tree of fear, correct?
Well, and it's all of this stuff is part of the journey, folks. You're here for a reason. You're here to be and to experience life, period.
A good one,
Do your best.
the one that you want.
Yeah, do your best. Focus on what you want and move forward. Just keep taking the next step.
You said something, David, and thank you for saying that because they just pointed something out. Tonight we were talking about shells of fear. David was talking about a shell in self-preservation, not self-protection. Here's how I look at it. I wish I could take credit for this. I can't. Spirit said, you realize, of course, you're eternal. So what do you have to be protected from? So then, I'll wrap it up. So then, I just want to say this. Self-preservation is a good thing. And just like David said, if you find somebody wearing on your self-preservation bubble, I don't see it as a shell, I see it as a bubble. And it's never, your energy's bad, my energy's good. That's separation. That's fear. It's, I wish to preserve the integrity of my energy at this time. And I am holding this wonderful vibration at this time, in observation without judgment. At this time, you are not able to hold that. I bless you. I release all that is around you in love and light, that it has no hold on me. And I choose to preserve the integrity of that which is within me in love. Again, are you doing it from love, or are you doing it from fear? If you're going to be a tree, be a grizzly. No, if you're going to be a bear, that's the same. If you're going to be a tree. What? Dude, man.
Maybe time for another MRI.
And we laugh, and it's a joyful thing. If you're going to be a tree in love. Thank you all so much again.
Thank you.